Happy Saturday. Welcome to The Paradigm Shift, episode 188, with a very, very special, beautiful, brilliant, dynamic guest here today. My dear friend Jillian. Can't wait to bring her on. All things relationship, love, everything in between. Let's have some fun, guys. We'll wait for Uncle Dave to hop on. We're going to get this party started. I am fresh off food poisoning, but if I'm being honest, I think it might have been something a little more severe. I was rocked, but I'm a little bit closer to feeling like myself, and there's no place in the world that I would rather be than with you guys right here. So without further ado, let's get the party started. We're going to bring on Uncle Dave, and Jill, we're going to bring you on in about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. All right. Hey, Colleen, where's Big Dave? Again, any questions for either Jillian, myself, or Dave, and let's just connect. Collective consciousness, baby. There he is. Oh, thank God.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
It's great to see you.
You notice who's over on my right shoulder?
Is that Bob Proctor? No.
Napoleon Hill. I am at the Napoleon Hill Archives in Wise, Virginia, with the amazing Don Green. Oh, look. Wait, show Don. This is, look what book he has right here. That's Craig Siegel. That's Don Green, everyone. He said good morning.
He's got the right book.
You got the right book? He has the right book. So wait, talk about great books. Look what Don has here. We got the original Outwitting. Oh, first, this thing weighs more than Don, but here's the original Outwitting the Devil.
Wow.
The original.
Item.
Wait, you gotta see it's typed. So, Craig, you gotta see this. This is actual. I'm in trouble doing this, but there we go. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
Is that crazy? And then
like,
this is a 20-pound
manuscript.
The original one that they held till
Wow.
1970 because they were afraid every religious, educational, political institution would come down on Napoleon Hill for being truthful and seeing into the future. The future always scares people, by the way, as you know, my friend. And nobody likes change except for a wet baby. And Napoleon Hill made sure that we accept change and we prepare for change by believing and not limiting our imaginations. As you know, nobody will ever overachieve their own self-image or their imagination. And for me, that's how Napoleon Hill changed my life and allowed me to create extreme abundance twice now in my life. And I'm blessed to be a part of this. We have a huge announcement today. Did you know that?
No, but I'm about to.
Yes. So on January 11th, my birthday, the day that they created the Napoleon Hill Institute in 1958, on my birthday, we will be launching the corporate division of Napoleon Hill Institute. And so we'll be working with the biggest companies around the world to instill the teachings of Napoleon Hill, to carry on the legacy, not just with individual entrepreneurs, small businesses, but with corporations around the world. And we have a huge team already assembled. We have offices in New York, offices in California. And so Cleona is here as well. And she is the head of the Napoleon Hill. And we have the head of the foundation and creator himself, Don Green, who's been a mentor of mine from afar, from Bob Proctor to Brian Tracy to Zig Ziglar to Dennis Waitley, all of my mentors. And then partnering with Rhett Powers, you know Rhett and the team, say hi. And then there's my boss, Nick. You see him there. Anyways, you got a question for me and Don? I'm going to unplug the mic real quick. Here, you got a question for me or Don?
Dave, congratulations. This is a big deal, and I know how excited you are about this. I have a question for you guys, yes. And then we'll bring on Jillian, I'm super excited about. How important is it for you guys to facilitate tough conversations with people you care about and tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear?
I didn't get over that.
Yeah. So how important is it to have tough conversations with other people? And I think, Craig, even ourselves, to tell ourselves and other people what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear.
We have to learn from other people. Monkeys learn from monkeys, so surely people can learn from people. And I can't let this get by. You talk about change. I found out a long time ago, the only people in this world that openly welcome a change is a baby with a bad diaper, and it cries through the whole ordeal.
See, I learned from the best.
It cries through the whole ordeal.
It does.
So, yeah, people resist change, and automatically they put up their defenses, and they need to get on with their life, but they resist change, and until they get over that and welcome the changes, they're not going to go anywhere.
And we know what you resist persists, as always, as well as Dr. Wayne Dyer and the Xanders taught everyone. Give us some of the highlights before we bring on another guest here. What are some of the highlights that people can see here at the archives with Napoleon Hill? You have some of them laid out here. I know he even sits at Napoleon Hill's desk, Craig. So the original Napoleon Hill desk is here at the foundation and the archives.
We have his original typewriter, and there's a whole case of books he signed that's never circulated. I got first editions, his personal copies. Gosh, over and over and over. Let me show you a few things.
Got a second, Craig? We're going to show a few. Awesome.
Beautiful.
This is no doubt the only picking gorge that's ever been signed twice by Napoleon Hill. I got it out of his wife's estate, and he's teaching a class at Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina, and Annie Lou was one of his students. So he gave her his book to Annie Lou Norman with the author's best wishes and in recognition of her loyalty, initiative, ability, sincerity. Napoleon Hill, 1941. And then the night before they got married, they courted for 2 years. Now she has the book and the author, 1943. For which she's grateful. Napoleon Hill, December 23rd, 1943. So I've never seen another book that's been signed twice.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
And we all know from Outwitting the Devil how much his marriage and his masterminding with his wife meant to Napoleon Hill. Absolutely.
I could tell you a little bit, I don't normally share, but see, he went through a bad divorce with Rosalie Beelan that helped him, I think, and grow rich. She ended up with Rolls Royce and then with his place in Florida. So Annie Lou had worked 20 some odd years for a guy, William Jacobs, who was president of that college. He also had his own publishing company. She made Napoleon Hill sign an agreement that she was in control of the money, because that's what she'd always done. So I mean, that was unheard of, 1943, for a woman to get men get it, but women get an agreement, and it's your file somewhere or another. But I want to show you another, David. This one, the one I acquired, and I just love it because it's such a good story that we can use. I was contacted by a guy, and I won't tell you his background because I might get in trouble. But anyway,
trust me, they got stuff signed by J. Edgar Hoover in here, so there's many secrets.
Yeah, well, we got J. Edgar Hoover's letter on the wall, not during the war. But here's a book that I acquired, and I just give it to the foundation. It's a first edition, as you can see. But it was somebody he knew. He said to Helene Wilson, that's the name of that her we just said, who has charm and brains with the author's best wishes, Napoleon Hill, 1937. Now there's more to it. She put her name in it, and she had a little book note. She said, August 25th, 85, I gave the book to my nephew, James Coran. It never meant nothing to him, evidently. She had it from 37 to 85, and then she gives it to him, and Don Green ends up with it.
Well, we love Don Green having it, I'll tell you that, in the Institute Foundation.
More to it.
I love it.
They corresponded, they were friends. He typed a letter to her in April 30th, 38, and said, my dear Helena, and he typed all this thing to her. So it's obviously noted he signed it green ink, Napoleon, and he says over. Then on the back, he wrote a half a page with his green ink and put his initials on it. She even kept the info in 1938 from Tampa, from Napoleon Hill. And of course, you notice it was on his letterhead, Napoleon Hill, Temple Terrace, Tampa, Florida. He's living in Florida. But she had there's a letter that he wrote her. The envelope was mailed in, and this is the book, and he wrote in the book, and then her comments. She owned the book from 37 to 85, and the nephew didn't care nothing about it.
And you got it.
I end up with it. So I said,
there's so many gems
that
we need to.
That belongs in the archive.
We're revitalizing all the genius, the expressions of God that has come through Napoleon Hill, and now. I brought our special first guest on, and now you can take over, Craig. Go ahead, introduce Jim. And thank you for your patience. patience. This is amazing.
Hi, how are you?
Jill, thank you for your time this morning. Unbelievable to see you. How are
He
you?
sent them all at one time.
I don't
Still got the
think
publisher's
people can
card in it.
hear.
It's never
They're
circulated.
talking, I'm
But now
talking. It's
Oh,
not
sorry.
all those books back up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Same sign button.
All
not
right,
gonna
Craig,
work.
go ahead.
Jill, where are you? New York or
I'm
Miami?
in Miami right now.
Come back soon?
Yes, in a couple of weeks actually I'll be in New York. How are you feeling? You're not feeling too well today.
I'm feeling much better now.
Okay, good.
Have you ever had food poisoning? I hope not.
No, but I've had stomach viruses that seem to be going around, by the way.
Yeah, I got rocked. Took me a few days, and I'm still not back, but much better.
Okay, I'm
Thanks for
glad.
asking. Yes. Let's dive right in. One of my favorite people. No one in the world I'd rather listen to when it comes to relationships and love and everything in between. And I want to encourage our community to check out all your content. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's so helpful. One of the things I saw you talking about recently, which I think is really cool, is that a relationship is supposed to make you happier, not happy. It's not supposed to save you per se.
Yeah.
Why is that so? Why is that such a big, important misconception?
Well, I mean, I think it's a very human thing, but one of the things that leads to a tremendous amount of suffering in life is thinking that happiness is something that we find outside of ourselves. And when it comes to a romantic relationship, we've been sort of, all of us, sold this lie that when the right person comes into our lives, then all our problems are going to go away. And that's not true. I mean, maybe the first 2 months it's true when you're drunk on all the lust and the excitement. But the reality is that a relationship also brings new problems to your life. So even when it's the right one, right? Because you have to learn how to adapt to being someone's partner and receiving love and giving love. And so it is on us to find as much meaning as we possibly can in life. And I do believe that a relationship should add meaning to our lives. I think it should add value to our lives. I think that we shouldn't be with anyone if we're not making our lives in some way better. But our fulfillment is our business. And no one, like, you can be in a relationship with someone and they can make you smile and they can make you laugh and they can even sometimes, make you feel good. But fulfillment is an inside job, and your partner is not capable of making you fulfilled because no one actually is other than you, really.
Dave, same frequency or what?
No, absolutely. And once again, thank you for your patience. But you can't find outside of us in any of the relativity of people, places, things, events, situations that we don't see inside of us. And I've been married 27 years to my dream girl that I met in the fourth grade who hated me until I was 26. I am the first boy ever to ask her to go steady at sixth grade camp, and she said no. So I threw an egg at her at 12 and eventually redeem myself. But the biggest transformation in my marriage over the 27 years was understanding the meaning that I give, meaning that when I started to look for what I wanted in my wife and also have a fulfilled, purposeful life that's passionate, as well as profitable, and I felt better about myself and was doing things that were more indicative of feeling good about myself, my marriage has flourished exponentially. And the last 17 years of my marriage, especially, has been an amazing mastermind as I sit here at Napoleon Hill. And that intimacy, that relationship of a shared consciousness can provide so much. For me, I always say behind every amazing man or woman is an amazing partner, but who is also amazed because they know everything about you and they're usually
Yeah.
amazed. They can't believe what you've done. So I think there's so much power in giving meaning to everything that we see, especially the most intimate relationships that we want to establish and maintain and sustain and grow. Craig just got married, so I'd love to know your thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think that we still have to work on ourselves all the time, build a connection, and like Jill said, film is an inside job, and the right partner can complement and elevate you to a place that maybe you can't get to on your own. But it's not other than what you can do on your own. It should be a complement. And that's why I don't like to keep score in a relationship. Like, there should be no conditions. We should each be going like this, and with this collective consciousness, we can take it to new heights.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always say that people rarely end their marriages or their relationships because they stopped loving each other. They end it because they don't feel seen by each other anymore. They don't feel connected. And part of this, it's not certainly not all, like what you were saying is when you've been married to your wife for so long, you met her when you were in the fourth grade. But and it's a beautiful example because we don't have many examples of enduring love. I mean, we have examples of people who stay together forever, but they stay together miserable. I don't think that's a success, right? But when we can realize that perhaps not always, if our relationship is not going that well, or we're going through a rough patch, could a person possibly consider that it has more to do with what's going on inside of them rather than their partner not being good enough in some way? And so I think that self-awareness in a relationship is being able to recognize when you are sort of off, right? You're off center, you're off purpose, whatever it is that's contributing to it. And there could be lots of things that are contributing to that. That sometimes, or often, I would say, one's relationship gets better when we tend to the relationship with ourselves. And so, yeah, so that just goes with the fact that a relationship is meant to add value to your life, but it can't rescue you from the uncertainty of your life. We all have demons that we have to continuously confront within ourselves, things that get in the way of what makes us feel, I put happy in giant quotation marks because I don't know if happiness is really a noble pursuit, but feeling content and having some meaning and purpose in life.
Beautiful. As a follow-up question, Jill, if you're in the relationship and you feel a different type of energy that you're curious about, how can you tell the difference between something that you might need to heal or maybe a need that you need to honor?
Well, I don't think, I think it's all about communication. I, I think what you're asking, Craig, if I may clarify your question, is how do you know when it's you and how do you know when there's something actually missing in the relationship? Is that the question?
You obviously articulated a lot beautiful than I
No,
did.
no,
Yes.
no, that's okay. I just want to make sure it's clear. So that is a really good question, and it's not an easy one to answer. Um, Sometimes it takes talking to someone to kind of bounce off some ideas or feelings. Um, Sometimes oftentimes it's about having a conversation with your partner. I mean, communication is key, and just saying, this is how I've been feeling. I don't know if it's something in me or if it's something in us. Like, can we talk about this? Because chances are, like, if it's something in the relationship, they're feeling it too. You're not the only one. So I think really it's about communication and there's other things like listening to your intuition, talking to people about it. Have you been expressing what your needs are? All of the above.
David's coming through.
Yeah, it's so interesting because there's four core values in that aspect of having any relationship, and I utilize very pragmatic approach. I put things into context, all the emotions and the infinite side of my life. And number one, we spoke about gratitude, looking forward to find the light, the love, and the lessons in the relationship, to the accountability that's necessary in a relationship. So what did I do and what am I supposed to learn? What did I attract? What am I supposed to learn? And what perception am I participating in is a really big one in my relationships. Is I'm participating in a perception, and that leads to the effective communication of saying, I know this is what I'm perceiving, but a lot of times in all relationships, not just our intimate, closest relationships, but all of them, we perceive things. Have you ever seen anyone overthink positive? No, people just, and so when you're closer to someone, and that leads to a really powerful tool that took me years. I saw Colleen on here says we have to understand the ego that edges the goodness and God out of our relationships. But forgiveness, which is where I started studying the Course in Miracles to help with my relationships, to be able to forgive myself so I could forgive everyone around me, especially my wife. And when I started asking myself the things that, gave me a need to be offended or right or separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, guilty, resentful, great relationship tools, by the way, I would say, well, have I ever done that? Have I ever forgot to say thank you? Or have I ever been late? Or did I ever leave the shoes on the staircase? Then why don't you just shorten the distance of resistance in this relationship and use your wisdom and faith and forgiveness in order to effectuate, through gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication, more of a healing. And for me, it's always, what am I doing to interfere with the bond that I have with the people closest to me that are relative, have an association, and a great blessing of bleeding and feeding each other, which to me is a construct of all great relationships. So, would love to add that component of forgiveness, which really has been a great tool for all of my relationships, but especially for my wife forgiving me, but I have to once in a while forgive her as well.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I think that, the key thing is accountability. When we're thinking about forgiving our partner, it's like, well, what you said, what did I do to sort of, what was my contribution to whatever is interfering to the bond? You said it much more beautifully with the other person. And that's like, I mean, that's the core of what I teach. If you can actually look at you, like it begins with you, if you can look inside yourself and see, how am I contributing to this? Now, of course, that's dangerous if you're in a relationship with someone who's terrible to you and abusive, but most relationships are not that, actually. I'm curious, when you had to, now I'm going to flip it around, I'm going to become the question asker, but
Good.
I'm curious if when you started to do this work, what was like the core belief that you had, or the core wound maybe from childhood that you had to overcome in order to actually transcend that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, studying attachment and understanding that my dad left when I was 5,
Mm-hmm.
I was molested when I was 9, and taking some of the trauma and fear that I had, and understand how at 40 that this was impacting me. And so thanks to my wife, really, I reached a moment in my life where the 4 people who loved me the most, I hated: my mom, my dad, my best friend, and my wife, because they were telling me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And although financially I was in an extraordinary position, professionally running the most notable sports agency in the world, for the first
Doesn't
time, like you
matter.
said, I wasn't fulfilled,
No.
and my wife saved my life. And so, uh, setting me forth to, study certain things that I had kind of resisted in my life, a different way of looking at it, and seeking therapy and help to heal the reaction I was having to that fear and projecting it onto other people, especially the people I love the most, were the catalyst to, 17 years of personal development. Still working. I'm a work in progress. And, ironically, here today, as we're making one of the bigger announcements in my career, of being the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute for the corporate division here, and something that had impacted the new mindset, heart set, and handset in my life. Napoleon Hill was one of the first to, and he does talk about relationships in utilizing what we perceive and to achieve in our relationships, not just financially. When he says grow rich, a lot of it is about these relationships that you help people grow rich with. And you told me, right, you read it right away when you're like, yeah, Dave Meltzer had everything that everybody else wanted except for he wasn't rich. He wasn't fulfilled, passionate, and purposeful. And we all know if our purpose isn't greater than the pain that will continue to teach us to grow, that we will quit. And we'll quit our relationships, we'll quit our business. And it is that purpose that I live with and hopefully empower, like you do, so many other people. And I'm hoping to carry forward and revitalize Napoleon Hill and his teachings to help people with their relationships as well as their business. So you are a blessing to everyone. I love your stuff. I love your mindset. And what you've done with Craig is incredible, because I couldn't. It was amazing that he listens to you. Just know that you have that going for you.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. It's really nice to meet you too.
Oh my God, you're a blessing.
It's always
Want
Thank you.
to
Thank
bring
you.
us home, big guy?
Yeah, I'll land the plane with a final nugget. Jill, when it comes to relationships, I see often people pursuing someone that's not necessarily as interested in them, or the energetic exchange there is not even close to equivalent. How important is it to build a relationship with someone that is only all in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it's the first few dates, like give it a minute. Like, you
Talk to
have
my
to like
25-year-old
calm your
daughter.
anxiety and give it a minute. Like you can't expect someone to be all in, but when I speak to them, speaking about like you're consistently spending time together for 3-4 months and someone does 6 months and they don't know. Look, I think that a nasty habit that we all have on some level is that we're chasing things that are not chasing us back, and I have a really just firm belief that don't choose anyone who's not choosing you, right? It really has to be two people who are choosing each other. But we play this game with ourselves and we do this with work. We don't just do this with relationships. We do this with the pursuit of anything, where we're like, trying to swim upstream and we're wondering why we're like met with all this resistance. It's because it really shouldn't be so difficult. Like if someone is interested, it really should be two people with mutual feelings choosing each other. And it's a horrible feeling to be trying to contort yourself or strategize and trying to like be something for someone so that they choose you because they're not. Like that's just no way to live.
Yeah.
So only choose people, places, and things that are choosing you back. You want to go for where the door is ajar, not closed. And a lot of people are chasing and running after you and banging on these very shut doors. And I really believe that, like, even though in life you got to make some things happen, you can't make anything happen with a door that's like shut really tight. It has to be open. And that's been a very big lesson that I've learned about life. And once you kind of take that in and do whatever necessary work you have to do to understand why you're doing that, one's life becomes a lot easier.
And it's not to say that there won't be some conflicts in relationship, but there has to be a willingness there. The door can't just be shut.
I mean, a relationship without conflict is basically like a boring friendship.
It's so true.
You
Yeah,
have
I think that you
have
have
to
to
have
just.
some conflict, but also some people don't know where to draw the line. They don't know how to draw the line between what is just two people with their own minds having a little bit of an argument and then, but not blowing it up into this dramatic thing that goes on and on and on. Like you have to know where your limit is, but you need a little bit of conflict otherwise, because differences are what keep the attraction alive.
I couldn't agree more.
And that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
why I am so attracted to Craig. But there needs to be a connection, and for a
Yeah.
paradigm shift of, hey, my relationship is about what are we doing to interfere with our connection, not trying to establish one.
Yes.
And it's been that way, and it's the greatest relationship, and I wish it for everyone else. nobody perfect, but I found the perfect person for me, and that's what I wish for my daughters and my son, and
Yes.
for both of you and anyone that works. And like I said, thank you both so much. This is a historic day for me to share it with you guys. It has been a blessing, and thank you so much, Craig and Jillian. I
Thanks,
appreciate
everyone.
both of you.
Appreciate it.
Jill, real quick before we
Yeah.
hop off, what are you most pumped about right now, and how can our community support or get involved?
Yeah, well, my very first book is available for pre-order. It comes out January 14th, but you can pre-order it now. Oh, it's so cute. And then anyone who pre-orders it, there's some very special gifts that I'm announcing in the next few weeks that you get to kind of keep yourself really warm before the book comes out. And it's called It Begins With You, the 9 Hard Truths About Love That Will Change Your Life.
Beautiful.
And I think it's going to be amazing. So it's available for pre-order.
Yes, it is going to be amazing. Thank you for writing it. And Uncle Dave, where are you going to be traveling? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I just want to
You
make.
know,
Oh, good.
what's that? Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I
didn't
mean,
interrupt you.
yeah, it's basically my name, here on Instagram, my podcast, Jillian on Love. And the book is just jillianturecki.com/book. And yeah, come find me.
And Dave, where are you going to be?
You know, I'm everywhere. I'm at the Napoleon Hill Archives right now. I want to make that official announcement that we open an office in Irvine as well on November 1st. We will be launching January 11th, my birthday, also the day that Clement Stone and Napoleon Hill created the Institute, January 11th,
Also, my
1958. I was
puppy.
born in 68.
We're
And your
Capricorns.
puppy.
We're both
Capricorns are
Capricorns.
awesome. But reach out if you want to work with us. We're going to be in Vegas filming the TV show. I'm going to be in Cancun speaking there. We'll be in SoFi Stadium, our other studio, next week as well. So just email me directly, david@dmeltzer.com. I want to thank Jillian, you, and the amazing Napoleon Hill. Check him out. And let's do this again. This was too much fun. Have a great day, you
Yes.
guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you
everyone.
both.
Thanks, Craig.
Jill, great to see you again.
Great
We'll connect offline.
to
Bye,
see
guys.
you.
Love you. Have a
Love
Love
good
you
you,
day.
Eagle.
guys.
Goodbye,
Bye.
Bye,
Eagle.
guys.